Thank you for being here at the 17th Annual Named Athletic Scholarship Celebration. I'm Sloan Tyler, Director of Development at the Foundation. We have a wonderful program planned for you tonight, and we want to present it in a little bit different way this year. I'll be stepping away from the role of MC, and we're going to be turning all of the program and the remarks over to the student athletes this year. They're prepared, and they're really looking forward to the opportunity. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Katie Nazenbenny, a junior on the soccer team and the recipient of the Christine H.B. Grant Scholarship, to begin our program. Please welcome Katie to the podium.
Thank you, Sloan. Welcome again to this special evening. I'm really excited to be participating in tonight's program. I was asked by the Foundation staff to participate in a different event this summer called A Day in the Life, which was a panel discussion about what it's like to be a student athlete here at the University of Iowa. Speaking to a room full of contributors at that event, I really started to put together just how much your generosity directly allowed my dreams to become a reality. And for me, my dreams became a reality in November of 2008 when I called Coach Ron Rainey as a junior in high school and said, I want to be a Hawkeye come the fall of 2010. And that was an exciting day for me. I mean, literally for the next 2 years, I don't think that there was a day that I didn't wear an Iowa t-shirt or sweatshirt. It was probably really annoying to be around because that's all that I talked about, read about, listened to. But I was just so excited. And as a 16-year-old kid, you think that's probably going to wear off, some of that shine of a new school. But I'm 21 years old right now, and I've been here for 3.5 years, and I'm still excited to be a Hawkeye. I love it here. I love this school. I love this place. I love the people I've met, the opportunities that I've had. I literally just love waking up every morning and be like, wow, I play on the Iowa soccer team. That's a pretty cool thing. And you know what I love the most, though, is this year, we've had a pretty cool opportunity to come out on our field on a Friday night in October and beat Penn State for the first time in program history. It's those things. Actually, we've got 2 goal scorers, Chloe Lacoste, Ashley Cottrell. They scored 2 goals. But it's those things that I know that I'll remember for the rest of my life. But really, to say that my time here has been easy all the time would be a misrepresentation. Because my first 2 years here, I suffered 2 torn ACLs. And I mean, that was hard. That was hard physically, of course, but more so mentally and emotionally. Because especially after that second one, you really start having a lot of doubts. And you start thinking, I don't know if I'm willing to put in the work to get back to where I was. Maybe it's just not worth it. Or even worse, maybe I just wasn't meant to be a college athlete. But as soon as you start feeling kind of hopeless, the people around you, the people in this room, in compliance, in event management, sports info, people who you don't really know, not to mention all your teammates, your coaches, your trainers, they're the ones that bring you up. They're the ones who you might not know who they are, but they're thinking about you, and they're really, really rooting for you, and they're patting you on the back when you meet them for the first time, and they're saying, come back stronger than you were before. Rehab, take it seriously. And at times like that, you really, really start to think that it's silly that you at one time possibly thought about giving up on a dream that you've had since you were a 7-year-old kid. And it's times like that that make me so proud to go to this wonderful school. I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that I've had, and especially to come here tonight and speak to you all. I'd like to personally thank Dr. Christine Grant for her generosity and just for everything she's done in women's athletics. She's not here today, but she's really been an ambassador for female athletes since basically the beginning in the USA. And also, obviously, for my coach, Ron Rainey, just for all the support I've had for the past 3.5 years here. And I'd just like to introduce to you Michael Swank, a senior on the men's tennis team, and a recipient of the John Skeen Memorial Scholarship. He's just going to share a little bit about his Iowa story and introduce our first speaker of the night. Thank you.
If you could hang with me while I get the mic right. Awesome. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. To me, tonight really represents the great community that Iowa athletics is. We're getting a great view at who and what goes into the success of our programs. It's so much more than just an individual, our teammates, and our coaches, but everyone in the athletic department, and even more, the generous donors that we're here celebrating tonight. These donations that don't go to anyone they know or that they choose, but rather to the institution, represents the faith that the donors have in the athletics programs, and the faith that they know that the best leaders will be put in place to find not only the best athletes, but furthermore, the best kids overall who will go on to represent Iowa. The donors' belief in Iowa and their continued support produces a rippling effect throughout the community. The drop of water that starts the ripple is the donations, which produces the scholarships that give student athletes the opportunity to attend this university. Now, while I walked on to begin my career at Iowa, I was surrounded by my teammates. I witnessed their playing level, saw their practice habits, and learned how to handle playing conditions from watching them. This not only led me to receiving a scholarship, but more importantly, developed me into the person that I am today. The next ripple is the effect on our teams. With tennis not being a revenue-generating sport, I wouldn't be standing here because Iowa wouldn't have a team if it wasn't for these generous donations. Not only does Iowa have a team, but these established scholarships, with signing day having just passed, have allowed us to sign an impressive Belgian, a 5- and a 4-star recruit, giving Iowa tennis one of its best recruiting classes to date. As the ripples move out, we get to the athletic department and our fan base. This is where every donation and their ripples meet. The juggernaut that is the Iowa wrestling team, Iowa football and their impressive finish to the regular season, Iowa basketball making it to the final of the Battle for Olympus. I could go on and on with every team, but all the success that we see starts with that initial drop from these donations. While there are many things that go into making the University of Iowa great, oftentimes the most visible representatives are the student athletes in this room and our teams. We have the opportunity to represent the University of Iowa across the nation, both on the playing field and off. We're ambassadors for the university, and we define what it means to be a Hawkeye. With that said, I want to thank all of the donors for allowing us the opportunity to make Iowa great, and I especially want to thank the John Skeen family. On that note, I would like to ask all the head coaches, assistant coaches, and directors of operations in attendance to please stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn the mic over to our first guest speaker, the Director of Athletics, Mr. Gary Barta.
Well, I have a recommendation already for next year's program. To heck with having me or anybody else come up here. Let's just have a series of student athletes. I couldn't be more proud. I always say that this is the favorite event of mine during the year. We put on numerous events throughout the year. This is my favorite, and you're hearing, and you're going to hear more about why. Our student athletes, at this event, our student athletes get a chance to meet our donors. And I loved your story, Katie, and it reminded me of my same story, where I was a student athlete. I was appreciative of my scholarship, but about 2 or 3 years in, I had the same opportunity as Michael and as Katie and some of the others you're going to hear. I sat down in the development office, told me about all these people that write checks, that contribute so that I can have this experience. And it's just an amazing opportunity tonight for the donors to meet the student athletes, to see that they're real young men and women, that they're not just in their uniforms and their helmets and their singlets, etc. They're bright, articulate, and passionate young people. And so that's the fun part from that end. And then from the student athlete standpoint, not just the ones that get up here and speak, but everybody in this room that gets a chance to see there are real people writing a check, making a contribution so that you can have this incredible experience that you're having. So it really is my favorite event of the year. We have many, many VIPs in the room. I'm not going to introduce many. In fact, I'm only going to introduce one. She's not going to speak tonight. Katie mentioned that there are hundreds of people in the athletic department who are cheering for you, who are working on your behalf. Well, the leader of the university and her husband, Ken, Sally and Ken Mason, you might not know this. Maybe you see them at your events. They're at a lot of events. They're your biggest fans, and I'm grateful. I know this is one of her favorite events as well because she and Ken have been at this event several times. So President Sally Mason and Ken are here tonight. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. We have a slogan. You've heard us say it. You're going to hear us say it over and over again. Win, graduate, and do it right. It's sort of our strategic plan, the elevator version of our strategic plan. This past weekend was a great snapshot, one of the great Hawkeye weekends of all time. I saw Kirk and Mary come in tonight. What a great win. Many of our football players are here tonight. Great win at Nebraska, 8-4. Just a terrific turnaround season. Now we wait to see where we're going to a bowl. I looked up the Sagarin ratings this morning. We're ranked 25th in the country in that poll. It was mentioned that the men's basketball team went to the Bahamas. Kirk talks often about maybe the football coaches aren't quite as smart. He went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and Fran went to the Bahamas. But they went on and had two terrific wins and just lost a heartbreaker in overtime to Villanova. But they're ranked 23rd in the country. They're 7-1. Lisa's team, who plays Thursday night, they're 8-1. They went to Cancun and won that tournament. Wrestling, Tom and Terry were here earlier. They went over to Ames and kicked a little ISU butt on Sunday night. So it was just from the winning perspective, it was a great weekend. Graduate. About a month ago, the graduation rates came out, and our student athletes once again made us proud academically. The graduation success rate, which measures if you come to Iowa and you finish your eligibility, what's your graduation rate? This past year, just in November it was announced, the highest graduation success rate in our history, 88%. So let's give our student athletes a hand for that. Northwestern was number 1 in the Big Ten. Penn State was number 2 in the Big Ten academically. And your Iowa Hawkeyes were number 3. So win, graduate, and then do it right. How do you ensure that you do it right? Well, you can have policies, you can have manuals, but what it really takes is you hire and retain great coaches, great people who are good at what they do, but they share your values, they share your commitment. We have that. And then your coaches have to go out and they have to recruit men and women who want to win championships, who are good at what they do, and want to earn a degree from one of the great universities in the country. We have that. So the ingredients are there. Win, graduate, and do it right. And as Katie mentioned, and Michael reaffirmed, we can't do it without you. President Mason is committed to our student athletes. Obviously, she's the president of the entire university. She's so committed to students in all areas on campus. Last year, I think you all know this, she lobbied the legislature, she worked with our Board of Regents, and she made a commitment to not raise tuition. That worked out. She's made that same commitment again this year. We're going to have to lobby the legislature again, but it's also, the other way that we're able to do it is through the people in this room, through private support. We couldn't have that approach without you. You give through the annual fund, you give through endowments, you give through your leaving us in your wills. And one of the commitments that President Mason made, and some of you have already taken advantage of it, the Golden Pledge. About a year ago, the university, under President's mandate, created a matching program. For everybody who gives $100,000 or more to scholarships, the university matches it. That's a pretty good return on investment immediately. I mention that because a couple of people in this room have already done that. I also mention it because it's still available, so maybe you'll take the hint. Thank you to our student athletes for what you do. Thank you for the time you put in, the passion. It's a full-time job times 2, being a full-time student, a full-time student athlete. And I want you to know how much I appreciate it, and we all appreciate it. Thank you to our staff and our coaches. You saw some of them stand up Our senior staff is here, our directors are here. There are over 200 people who have committed their life to helping you have a great opportunity, have a great experience at the University of Iowa. And then finally, thanks to every donor that's here. We couldn't do it without you. So let's go beat the Irish tonight, and just great night. Enjoy the rest of hearing from our student athletes. Go Hawks.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. My name is Brett Van Sloten, and I am an offensive lineman for the Iowa Hawkeye football team. I'm also the recipient of the Henry and Patricia Tippie Athletic Scholarship. I will be graduating this December with a degree in business management. The past 2 summers, I've had the opportunity to intern with the National Eye Club. My experiences in this job allowed me to see where the scholarship funding comes from. I also got the opportunity to meet a lot of contributors, as well as personally thank donors for their loyal support to the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's been a lot of fun to be a Hawkeye. The experiences I've had and the memories that I have made will continue to have a positive impact on my life. I truly appreciate the opportunity that has been given to me to earn a degree at a great university and compete in the Big Ten Conference. Thank you again for the support and the opportunity to play football at a great program. Before I step off, I want to introduce Coach Fran McCaffrey. Obviously, Coach could not be here tonight, but he did want to share a couple words with you.
Thank you so much for being here and for all you do for our student athletes. I'm sorry that I couldn't be here in person along with my staff and our players, but obviously we're getting ready to play Notre Dame as part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. 2 prominent programs and a phenomenal atmosphere, and we're just glad you're here. On behalf of all the coaches in the department, thank you so much for all you do for the education of our student athletes. Providing a scholarship for a young student athlete prepares him for life after basketball. I've seen it happen over and over, and we all really appreciate it.
Well, that's a great picture. Anyways. Hi, my name is Nikki Schultheis. I'm a field hockey player, and I'm the recipient of the Roland and Esther Smith Women's Athletic Scholarship. As some of you may know, but most of you probably don't, I'm originally from Germany. I decided for myself that I wanted to attend the University of Iowa the summer before my senior year of high school. Pretty late for the sport of field hockey, as many athletes are recruited earlier than that, but I was one of the first people in my high school to know what I wanted to do after graduation. Things are a little different over there. I picked out Iowa, and I decided to come here that summer to see if I could possibly meet the coaches, because, you know, I thought I could just do that. So that summer, I met Tracy and Lisa, and they decided to give me, a girl whom they've never met before, who they didn't know anything about, a chance. And it means a lot to me that they did, because this experience tops about everything that I could have ever hoped for or could have ever imagined, and I feel privileged and honored to be able to say I was part of the Iowa field hockey program and tradition. We've had our ups and downs in my 4 years. My freshman year, let's just say we didn't meet expectations, but my sophomore year, we rebounded and we made it to the NCAA tournament, which was great. Same thing happened my junior year, and in my senior year, we made it to the championship game of the Big Ten tournament, which was also a great experience. Well, that summer when I came here, I had to be upfront with them. In Germany, we pay 500 euros per semester for tuition, and we still have people complain about it. As you can imagine, my parents weren't quite prepared to pay many times that for me to go to school in a different country and just leave them, at least not for 4 years. But I wanted to be able to combine field hockey with my studies, because in Germany, that's not possible. Sports are run on a club level, and in order to be successful, you have to pick one or the other. Receiving a scholarship, even just parts from my first years, for me meant that I was actually going to be able to become a member of the Hawkeye family and to continue playing the sport I love. I received a named scholarship only later in my career, but it makes it an almost even greater honor just because I know what it means to be picked. At this point, I would like to thank all of you for being here tonight and for contributing. And I would also like to thank the Roland and Esther Smith family and their representatives.
for honoring me with their scholarship and letting me continue to represent the Hawkeyes. As our other student athletes hinted at earlier, it makes me realize I don't just play for myself, and I don't just play for my teammates or my coaches, but I play for everyone who is a member of the Hawkeye family. I play for the supporters and for you who are out here who made this possible for me. At this point, I'd like to take a moment to please recognize this year's new scholarships along with the corresponding scholarship recipients. The Sheila Riven Chapman Memorial Scholarship awarded to Hannah Clark. The Gregory and Susie Glazer Burt Athletic Scholarship awarded to Shannon Rose Ford. The Kirk and Diane Malaker Family Athletic Scholarship awarded to Nicole Mitchell. The Douglas D. Schneblin Women's Basketball Scholarship awarded to Melissa Dixon. The Keith and Justine Schulte Athletic Scholarship awarded to Zach McCabe. And the Dennis M. and Marcia A. Voss Athletic Scholarship awarded to Destiny Gui. Please give a round of applause to our new scholarship contributors. We would now like to have all of the student athletes in attendance stand. Wow, okay. You're all recipients of an endowed scholarship based on an outstanding academic and/or athletic performance. You're a great representation of the 435 student athletes on athletic scholarship at the University of Iowa. Let's please offer another round of applause to the endowed scholarship recipients.
Please direct your attention to the video screen once again, as we have compiled for you some of the best moments of the 2013 to 2014 athletic seasons. Our keynote speaker this evening is Stephen Ime. Stephen was named the Big Ten Golfer of the Week on October 30th, following Iowa's final event of the fall season, shooting 6 under par in the 3-day event. He was named Big Ten Golfer of the Week on 3 occasions. Last season, Ime won the 60th annual Sunny Hana Amateur, one of the top amateur events in the nation, and earned a sponsor's exemption to the PGA Tour's John Deere Classic. The Hawkeye senior earned first team All Big Ten honors last spring and is currently the 36th ranked amateur in the world. Please welcome to the podium, Stephen Ime.
Thanks, Katie. She's probably one of 3 people to get my last name right in my life, so thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to first thank the University of Iowa for allowing me to speak tonight. Also, big thanks to my teammates and the coaches for, helping me out along the way. Also, the advisors for helping us out with school. Through their work, they've helped us become better athletes, better students, and better people as well. My name is Stephen Ime, and I'm a senior on the golf team, as Katie said earlier. I'm from Peosta, Iowa. I have 1 older brother, 2 sisters, who both played college golf. My brother was the first of us to go to Iowa, and my younger sister is the third. She is currently on the women's golf team. So I guess you can say golf runs in the family. It all started with my dad, who played college golf at Wisconsin-Eau Claire. He was and still is a fierce competitor, but the real athlete in the family was my mother. She worked hard and won multiple state championships for volleyball, basketball, and track. It all started, these 2 hardworking, loving, and all-around great people are the reason I'm standing here tonight. They taught me to make opportunities count, and after being a Hawkeye for the last 3 years, I feel like I have done just that. For me, my path to the University of Iowa may not have been as clear as some people. I could never imagine myself being here tonight, speaking to you all about my story. When I was in high school, I decided to really focus on golf. I was an excellent junior player in our area, but playing high school golf against guys that were 3 and 4 years older than me was tough at first. I worked hard each summer, and by my junior and senior year, I was Conference Player of the Year and 2-time district champion. It was during these times that I started to play in more nationally ranked tournaments, once again opening my eyes to how far I needed to go to become an elite player. Coming out of high school, I was ranked just inside the top 200 juniors in my class, which really wasn't that impressive. And when graduation came, there were no offers on the table that I was particularly enthusiastic about. So I decided to go to Indian Hills. Indian Hills is a small JUCO school in southern Iowa. It was a great decision, and I'm truly glad I did this, even though it wasn't the big leagues like I wanted. Junior college was the perfect stepping stone for me. We had a great team. We won 11 of 13 tournaments, including the national championship. I was honored with the Phil Mickelson Award for being the top freshman in junior college golf that season. It was because of performances like these that I was able to get a scholarship to Iowa that following summer. A scholarship that has been vital to my success here, and a scholarship that you have all made possible. Transferring to Iowa was a little hectic. I received the call late in the summer with little to no time to debate. I signed my scholarship just 5 days before classes started. I had nowhere to live, no class schedule, and I had just left a team that was dominant in our division. Looking back now, I could have stayed, tried to have another good season, but would I have improved as a player? Maybe. But I wanted to play with the best, and at Iowa, you can do just that. The first day of practice was fun. My teammates took well to me, and for that I was thankful. But what I was most thankful for was the opportunity to play for a highly ranked school with a highly ranked schedule against the best college golfers in the world. Getting to play for a top-tier Division I program is better than I could have dreamed. Competing at the top level is how you build your games, and I know all the athletes in this room would agree to that. In competing against the best, we learn our weaknesses, and with losses comes learning. Playing at Iowa has given me many opportunities, but none greater than this summer. As Katie said earlier, I was given a sponsor's exemption into the John Deere Classic, a tournament won by my sports idol, Steve Stricker, and fellow Iowan, Zach Johnson. These 2 guys are both top 10 golfers in the world. And then there was me, a college kid from a small town in Iowa, who could have only dreamt of this opportunity a few months prior. Playing with these 2 guys was so much fun. I played with Steve in late June, and he truly was everything I could have imagined, a class act. even though he did go to Illinois. Then there was Zach, a hardworking guy, a guy who was told he would never make it his entire life, but I guess he proved a few of them wrong. The John Deere for me was similar to going to high school and like transferring to Iowa. It gave me a taste of what it would take to make it at the next level. Hitting balls on the range with hundreds of people watching or listening to a crowd cheer me on after I made my first birdie putt are just two of the hundreds of experiences that will come to mind when I think of the Deer. To me, this was all made possible because of my decision to come to the University of Iowa. And to me, this is what being a Hawkeye does. It gives us, the student athletes, opportunities. Opportunities to help others or to make new friends. Opportunities to become better athletes, better people, but also the opportunity to win championships. You get 4 years here at Iowa to be great and experience everything that Iowa City and the university has to offer. Opportunities come in many different ways, and I'm glad I get to face them all as a Hawkeye. On behalf of the endowed scholarship recipients here tonight, I would like to thank all of you, the donors. Because of you, we have been able to accomplish and experience everything that college athletics and college life in general has to offer. Thank you for changing our lives and for your support of the Hawkeye Way. And last but not least, go Hawks.
Well, as we conclude tonight's program, I think I'd like to have the student speakers stand maybe one more time and be recognized. Nikki, Stephen, Brett, Katie, and Michael. We have just a few quick announcements regarding tonight's halftime introductions. All the scholarship representatives and student athletes who are participating in the halftime introductions, please report to the tunnel with 4 minutes left on the first half game clock. Your number in the tunnel should be in your packet that you got when you checked in. The donors are at the front of the line and the student athletes are behind them. We're going to introduce the student athletes by sport this year. We have so many more contributors and student athletes this year than we normally have, so we've changed the format a little bit, but it'll run similar to years past. Thank you to Bob Goodfellow for taking the photos tonight. I think we're good on time with the start time of the basketball game, so if you haven't had your photo taken yet, Bob will take that over there. Thank you to Matt Henderson and Jane Oswald and the A-team for all their help tonight, and special recognition really goes to Peg Hausler, who really handles every detail of this event. Thank you, Peg. So I think that's it. Feel free to stick around for a little bit. Like I said, I think we're good on time. Thanks again for being here and for all you do on Iowa, and go Hawks.